On That Dead Body Show, we talk about death and murder, and at times, we may use explicit language.
Hey guys, we're back with another episode.
And another one.
Of Very Clearly Married DJ Khaled.
No, you just rent him. You lease the rights.
Well, here we are guys, another weekend, and glad you came back. We were looking for a case, and my good friend Nicki Tee over at Strictly Homicide actually suggested a case that she had just come across. And since she does only Arkansas cases, with October being the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, this case was actually perfect.
I guess you could say it fit it to a T. A Nicki Tee.
Did you just throw a dad joke in there?
Well, I mean, yeah.
This is where Nadia gets this shit from. This is it, right here.
Our daughter is a big proponent of the dad joke.
Yes, she is.
Every year, it's estimated by the Department of Justice that 1.3 million women and 835,000 men are victims of physical violence by a partner. Every 9 seconds, a woman in the U.S. is beaten or assaulted by a current or ex-significant other. And 1 in 4 men are victims of some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. If you need help, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-7233. Or you can visit their website at thehotline.org.
With that, guys, let's get right into this one. Welcome to Episode 9, Love Hurts, The Murder of Tawnee Baird.
Are you going to say it?
Cue those creepy kids.
Oh, when you say that, it gives me...
around the roses, pocket full of posies, ashes, we all dead.
So, when Nicki told me about the case, we did the usual research.
Google, news articles, look for court cases, things like that.
And we learned that there was a couple of true crime...
Was it Web of Lies and there was a Deadly
Women. Yeah. I decided, yeah, that'd be a good case.
We watched both of those. And
yeah.
Those things are so like reality television. It's like, it's all contrived and scripted, and they do these hinky editing tricks. I mean, I know it. From watching political television, I know that they do hinky editing tricks. Not to mention those, like, when the people don't look anything like the people that play them. I find that, I laugh at that a lot.
Well, I mean, I had always obviously suspected it. I mean, they have to make it, entertaining at least. However, I guess I never expected how much they changed it.
So yeah, during these searches that we were doing, we also found that a lot of the people involved in this, victim, the killer, friends,
family,
they all have social media presences that are still active.
Up until now, almost every case we've covered has been before.
Right.
Facebook, YouTube,
or even close at the beginning of MySpace, things like that.
Yeah, I think one was MySpace time, like Scholar and them.
Right. But this, I mean, there are videos of the killer and the victim. Both have active YouTubes with nothing new posted, of course. One of them is deceased and the other is in prison. But they do have historical posts there that are significant to the case.
I feel like the killer, Victoria's apology video, which was accurately portrayed in the Web of Lies, obviously because they played straight from, they played it. They didn't recreate that, thank God.
Right.
Because, anyway, all of this being said, I did my first I did my first out on a limb thing as a podcaster and reached out to one of the people who had so many pictures of her or being tagged in pictures and had a whole YouTube, like...
She had a tribute video to Tawnee. She was in the Web of Lies, was it?
She was interviewed in the Web of Lies.
And...
was not happy with the way that it turned out, to say the least.
Brandy did like a whole, like, it was so many questions. They went back and forth in text.
For hours.
Email. It was...
For many days, actually. Between that and I had classes Thursday and Friday for work. I've talked to her a good bit and wanted to make sure to thank Lacey for taking the time to answer what had to have seemed like 11 questions, but...
The Web of Lies just came out last month.
On my birthday, yes.
On your birthday, September 25th. That was almost a month to the day, actually.
Right.
And, so thank you, Lacey.
Yeah. I mean, she wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it wasn't as...
I went back after we found out that she said that they kind of chopped up what she said.
Yeah.
To make it, I guess more interesting or palatable for the masses. I went back and you can actually tell that it's chopped.
Yeah, when she's talking about her wanting to be a singer, like she said that she had like listed a whole thing off.
She listed a lot of things that she wanted to do. I know that one of them was moving to California.
Mm-hmm. And she was...
But she had almost given up on the singing thing. She just...
Yeah. Yeah, but they chopped it right there. Like she wanted to be a singer, chop.
Right.
I mean, and it tells me that if they did that with that.
So from all of this information that we gathered from her and some of the news articles and the court proceedings and whatnot, we're going to try to present as true an account as we can.
We have not got to speak to the mom or the dad in this.
But Lacey did actually converse with the mom and get some things just straightened out that we were confused about because...
The way they do it.
Right. And so when you hear this, and if you compare it to either of the shows that are out there, and they don't jive with the show, know that we have information. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean,
I asked her, could we share the things she told us?
And
she wants it out there.
Skewed for reasons.
Well, I mean, some things are boring, like,
We'll mention a lot of them and we'll point them out.
Yes.
As we get on with this. So where do we start?
Okay, so when Tawnee was around 17-ish or so, she was in the car with a group of friends who had
marijuana.
Oh Lord! No, don't wait a minute now. Don't forget. Don't forget where we're at.
I know.
Okay.
We're in the big old buckle of the Bible Belt.
Right. But so they get caught, a cop pulls up and they had...
they weren't driving
no.
and got pulled over. They were sitting, smoking, and a cop pulled up on them.
Right.
There's one of the things that doesn't...
Right. If you're moving, you can't necessarily, I mean, they're not, they were looking, I mean, it looks suspicious, I'm sure.
So they all get taken out and somebody's got to own up for the weed.
Yeah, and she was underage. And I'm assuming, and I hate to say I shouldn't assume, but from what I gather, everybody else was either at 18 or well over, and they would have actually been in trouble.
Right. So she was thinking, well, I'm underage. It'll be a slap on the wrist. They'll take me home to my mom, pretty much for the most part.
Which is what she should have got.
But it seems like there was something, I don't know, a month in juvie for simple possession. I mean, it is Utah, and it's a Mormon enclave, as I like to say.
Yeah, that is your favorite.
I know, but whatever. They just now got 5% beer, so they're dumping out all the beer that was below 5% that they were selling, instead of selling it to people
or
and
just
going here.
Drinking it, I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Let's pour. Is it like pouring out from the homies? I'm confused.
They just don't. They can't sell. They're getting more of the same beer, but at a higher alcohol.
I know,
percent.
but but why waste it? That's a waste. That's a sin. Okay, but that's a sin. That's a sin.
Okay.
You're pouring out the alcohols.
So what should have been a slap on the wrist turned out to be a month in juvie. And looking back, if it hadn't have been, I don't know, it seems like somebody was trying to teach her a lesson.
Yes.
And if that hadn't have been forced,
right,
this wouldn't be an episode.
No, this would not be and I actually asked Lacey that. I asked her if there was any feasible reason that she could have seen that she would have met Victoria had she not went to juvie, and she said she didn't, really think so at all.
They ran in different circles.
They lived 45 minutes away, and they had no in common friends. So I don't think that you're right. I don't think we would be doing an episode right now.
So she goes to juvie.
Yes.
For a month. And she meets Victoria, known as V by most of the girls in their circle.
Which is what I call my best friend, Virginia. V. Don't kill me, V. Please. Anyway, so while she's there, her mom comes to visit. Tawnee's mom comes to visit, and she tells her, I want to introduce you to my friend, Victoria. And she goes, oh, and by the way, we're together. Something along those lines.
I don't know if it started as a, what do they call it, a symbiotic relationship in the slammer.
I think so.
But from the videos I've seen, and there's no other mention of any previous same-sex relationship.
No. Her mother seemed to be kind of shocked by it.
Right. So
not shocked in a bad way, but wait, what?
Maybe that's what she discovered was,
right,
what she wanted.
I will say this, towards the end of the relationship, multiple people did say that they felt like Victoria felt that she was going to go back to guys.
So they meet in juvie. She does her month, tells her mom, I'm in a same-sex relationship now.
This is V. And while she's there, Victoria gets a letter, or finds out in some form, because again, we don't know exactly how she found out, that her mom was getting sicker.
Yes, she has cancer, and had cancer, and would later her sickness, her illness would later play into this story as well. Tawnee gets out and tells V that she's going to wait for her, and she does.
Yeah.
I think V does another 2 or 3 months.
Maybe three. There's varying.
And Tawnee
comes and gets her.
With her dad.
Yeah.
Her dad drives her there, and her dad's okay with Tawnee and V being together, and until the end of this story, of course. Which
right. Or somewhere there in the middle.
Near the end, yeah. You can, but you can imagine. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be okay. If I liked you previously, if you kill my child, I'm definitely not going to like you.
It doesn't actually, it gives the date in the corner of the programs, but I don't think it conveys.
It does not. The
actual time that they are together.
No, it does not. Like you said, it does put the date in the bottom, but it really, really, really...
But there's only so much you can do in a 22-minute program.
True, but still... it still makes it, to me...
It doesn't seem like it's 5 years.
No, it does not.
In no way does it seem like it's 5 years.
No, it's like they get out and then bam, this happens.
It's not like that. They are in a troubled relationship. There's... From what was... Actually, it later comes out, they were both at each other. They both were jealous.
Yes.
But I believe that Tawnee was jealous of V around other girls. V was jealous of Tawnee around everybody.
But now I will say this, I think that V gave her a reason to be jealous. I think that, and when I say gave her a reason to be, let me rephrase that. I don't know that she necessarily did it on purpose all the time, but she knew that other girls were looking at her and talking to her, and she didn't stop it the way that she expected Tawnee to stop things. like, I told you not to hang out with this guy. I told you not to talk to this guy on social media. But she would take the attention from other people. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Tawnee wasn't interested in anyone but V.
No. I also feel
I'm
like...
not sure that was reciprocated by V. So it goes on for 5 years. There's arguments, and it gets down to what did the V's sister said that they were both jealous, and it got into fights that were hitting and punching and kicking.
Right.
So they were at odds with each other, but they loved each other. It was one of those, I'm fighting you because it was a lot like you and I, actually.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we're not this bad. I'm hoping you're not going to kill me. You're not going to kill me, right?
I've been studying this for a long time.
You're not. Ooh, my voice cracked there, so.
Lacey said...
I'm not scared.
Lacey said that, you know, it was, when it was really well, or it was really good, it was good. But when it was bad, it was bad. That they had so much fun together. And one of the things that really pissed me off about the Web of Lies episode, and I want this out there because...
Hey, let me get some... We do love each other. I want to get that out there. Some people don't think that we're going to end up on an episode and they'll be covering us, right?
That implies they would find your body.
True.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, I know.
Let's be real. They would never find the other body. Anyway, so one of the things that this episode kept saying was that, and actually the name of the episode was Fatal Facade, and they kept saying how they faked it, and on social media they put up all these great pictures of each other, and
right. That was our son actually said, well, what was the Web of Lies with that?
Right, yeah.
But it was the actual internets, the interwebs,
right,
of lies. But
I don't think that they were lying. Like Lacey said, you know, everybody has bites.
I'm not a big Instagrammer, so I didn't go out and look at their Instagram.
I actually didn't either.
But I don't know that I would be able to, because there would be that horrid jacket was actually pretty good. They had showed some of the pictures,
right? Actual
pictures during that episode as well, because they were pushing the whole. Oh, they were making themselves look
great, and
like they were.
But you know, to be honest with you,
influencers
for
like
every
they were IG influencers.
For every time that they said that they posted all these pictures to make themselves look in love, every fucking time, if you look at almost every time, either V is doing that whole crazy Illuminati thing.
Yeah, she thought she was in the Illuminati.
Or she's making a face behind Tawnee that's literally like,
what the fuck?
Like her face betrays.
Or she's blitzed out of her freaking
Now, she
mind.
might have been.
So
I didn't think of that. But it's still, like, she stank facing for real. One thing that, to me, rang true of all the shows and from Lacey is that V constantly accused Tawnee of cheating.
And the accuser is usually the one doing...
I don't know that she did
Okay,
before.
but...
Well, that's very true. And in this case, I don't know that she did before what I'm about to talk about. But she decides that she's done with it, that all these guys are commenting on Tawnee's stuff. And she sees, you know, this message or whatever, you know, from one of her friends, like, you know, let's grab coffee. And she's like, you know what? I can do this too. And she cheats on her with Tawnee's best friend. Or not best friend, but a friend. But she says in the video, a good friend. And Lacey actually says, but it wasn't me.
That leads to the
YouTube video.
The I'm Sorry video we mentioned earlier. That was also portrayed in the Lies show. There's a lot of things about this case that are just crazy. So that they do have their problems. She cheats. They break up to make up, which is funny because Tawnee's YouTube, as I said, was still active, and she has like her liked videos or playlist or whatever, and one of them is the Method Man song with D'Angelo, breakups to makeups, and it seemed like that might be a theme for their relationship.
Yeah, I do. I think that they had a very passionate...
Victoria's playlist had like a lot of like gangster rap.
Victoria looked gangster.
I mean, yeah. So she, they also, well, after the cheating incident, they of course got back together because Tawnee really loved her, and
Yeah.
Victoria really loved Tawnee.
I think she still does. I mean,
And they get back together. They get into another fight, and Victoria pops Tawnee in the mouth
it knocks a tooth out.
and I'm not sure if she chipped the tooth or knocked it out.
No, she knocked
Like,
it out. It was
totally
fucking gone. Like
Okay.
this tooth was out. Like she was in her hand. Like it was gone.
And this was not long
And there's
before-
actually a YouTube video or a Facebook video where she's got a bruise on her mouth.
Right.
We found that one. So I'm assuming, well, I mean, I guess it could have been from another fight, but it was right close to her dying.
There's also, there's tons of their videos still out there on their page, on their accounts and other people's that like them setting up a microphone and they look happy and
Yeah.
and her little sister's there, Tawny's little sister's there who actually just turned 14.
Yes.
Happy
The other
birthday. A few days ago. And they look like a happy couple. So maybe
Which is,
that's what they're pointing out there.
but I
about-
don't think that they did what the show accused them of doing, of making a fake life for social media. I
Right.
think that they were happy, like Lacey
Right.
said, when it was good, it was good.
And when it was,
I mean, yeah.
So she gets her tooth knocked out. Her dad is pissed.
Yeah.
They make up a story that is true.
To my knowledge, I'm not sure. I don't think that me and Lacey covered exactly what the story was, but I think the story was made up, yes.
And her dad was actually in the process of, I believe, paying
Well, yeah, he had already,
payments on a replacement dental
yes,
device, probably a permanent implant. He's a radio personality and pretty, I guess, local famous.
probably.
That's not quite internet famous, but
I know. I'm thinking he's probably internet famous at this point because he
Yeah.
posts videos a good bit about how pissed he is
right. Well,
about his daughter.
dead.
Well, no, I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm sure that it.
But he was. I mean, he was there and helped out with the relationship.
He said, Tawny was beautiful, and there she was without her tooth. I mean, I can assume that was rough to him.
So, one of the things that Lacey said was that she didn't like the way she was portrayed, but she also didn't like the way they portrayed the
Mom.
mother.
Yeah.
Like the mother knew all of this was going on and was just okay with it. Oh, well, I guess that's just your relationship, dynamic. That's not true.
Because of the way it cuts it, like I said earlier, it truly doesn't look like 5 years. It looks like she gets out of juvie and then just gets murdered. Like within maybe a year or so.
Right.
In reality, Tawnee was 21 years old. And while they did live with the mom,
They had also lived with Victoria's mom,
before she died.
which led to she didn't feel like she could turn her away.
Right.
Because, my daughter had lived with you
your
and your
mom.
mom. Of course you can come here and live with us.
And I think, and one of the things that Tony's mom says in the video is that, or the show, was that she was manipulative. But a lot of people...
I'm sure she also saw that her daughter was a lot like that as well, but probably didn't want to own up to that.
No. And I hate to say that.
But
I think
if
they
that-
both kind of had to be to a certain extent.
Right. So she did carry V
Yeah.
to get a job
Yes.
as a security guard.
Yes.
Tawnee had recently enrolled in
school
Salt Lake
in-
Community College.
Right.
On a was it financial? I don't know. She was she was an assistant to an accountant as a job.
Right.
That's what she was doing.
I'm not sure. I know she went back to school. I know that Lacey said she went back to school and she was very happy that she was, going back to school and getting somewhere.
So they are. Well, here's where one of the docudramas, I'm going to call it, varies from the true story. The night of the incident, October 18th, 2014. They were drinking with a friend at the friend's home. They were not quote, at a bar as portrayed in the program, but that's not cool and interesting. Oh, you were just kind of sitting at a friend's house drinking.
Which to me would have rang more true to me.
I mean...
But whatever. I guess because we're homebodies.
Right.
I guess it's more believable to me that they were hanging out with friends than at a bar, but...
Instead of drinking that 1-800.
That's right.
And they were drinking at a friend's house. They left, and
there's actually a very cool picture of Lacey and Tawnee that says, this was like the last few hours she spent with her.
They are at this friend's house, and I believe that Tawnee had smoked some weed. Victoria
did not
because she had recently gotten a security job.
Or was in the process and was probably trying to not have it in her system.
Right.
But I think she had gotten it.
But probably needed to pass the drug test.
Well, yeah. And I mean, if you probably have to take one at least once a month with something like that.
I mean, there's no telling, but... So she did not smoke marijuana that night. And...
That usually calmed her down.
And she smoked a lot of
Normally.
marijuana, according to sources. And I guess, not having that as a calming agent might have led to this. They were on their way home from this person's house with Lacey.
They were taking Lacey home.
They dropped Lacey off.
And Lacey did point out that at some point, even though she fully believes that Victoria was being overdramatic, that Victoria was like, you know what, y'all go, I'm just going to stay here. But that she felt like she kind of wanted her people to be like, Navy, come on, like, come with it. But that...
Yeah, like she wouldn't have stayed.
No,
it was just like a show.
Yeah, it was kind of like, she wanted Tawnee to
show me you want me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the way I felt about it. Was that she wanted Tawnee to be like, no, really, come on, baby, or however they talk to each other. Lacey did say that night she normally didn't smoke. Lacey didn't normally smoke, but that night... she was glad she did because her and Tawnee just kind of like chilled and laughed and, did stupid shit. Friend thing, yeah, sit and laugh, talked about things or whatever, and that's how she'll always remember her.
So they were driving home. They dropped Lacey off, and I'm sure it was over jealousy. I would almost bet money that they were on the I-15.
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
And Tawnee was driving. Vicky never drove anywhere.
Yeah. They said she never drove.
Sorry,
I don't even know.
Saying Vicky. Victoria. Never drove anywhere.
Vicky just reminds me of the babysitter from Timmy Turner. Icky Vicky. Although I'm sure that's how a lot of people feel about her now anyway. So I guess maybe we could stick with that.
She sounds to me, I'm not in no way officially able to make a diagnosis, but she seems like she might have some type of borderline personality disorder where she just went manic and then did things and then realized, oh shit, I did things.
Yeah, like the snapping and not realizing what the things you say.
And she and Tawnee get in an argument, probably some popping, slapping, punching.
She says that Tawnee pulled her hair.
And that set her off. And she pulled a knife and stabbed her 46 times.
While Tawnee was driving.
On the freeway. I'm not sure what the I-15 looks like. Is it the I-15?
I'm almost positive it was I-15, yes.
So,
because when we looked at it, remember? Because we were looking to see where the church was that they were found.
Right. The address of the church was given. And it's a Pentecostal church.
Yes.
And so she stabbed her 46 times and I believe manipulated her into the passenger seat of the car. And
yes. The car was going kind of like crazy and
drove enough to get to the off-ramp, realized where she was.
In Ogden.
And pulled into the church parking lot, which...
She recognized.
I pulled a
Melissa.
I pulled a Melissa and Google mapped it. And shout out to Melissa from Moms and Murders.
I love her Google the city.
So I Google mapped it, and I went all looked at the parking lot. It's a very small church.
Yes.
It's like a
that's
clapboard.
Yeah, and that's where she went as a child. Yeah.
So, and that was right. I mean, it's like a few blocks off of the I-15.
Right. She called her sister.
And said, I've killed Tawnee.
Yeah. And then the sister called the police.
Her sister gave the address of the church that they had attended as children, and the police go there. They find Victoria V sitting there on the ground outside the car. They ask her; she's covered in blood. They ask her if she has a weapon on her. She says no. The knife's in the car.
Right.
They look in the car and they see Tawnee just
slumped over into the half seat and half in the floorboard.
Right. And she has cut marks or stab marks over her face and throat and torso, and
she's pronounced there.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
Right. This is where I think the obsessive personality disorder. Is that what it is?
I mean, there's many borderline.
The borderline personality disorder comes in. That she immediately said, I did it. I mean, there was no anything.
One of the things that she said, and
there was no investigation. She showed up. She immediately said, "I did it." In the car.
I'm a monster.
Yeah.
But one of the things that she told the police was, I think at first I don't think she thought she was dead. She asked if she was going to be okay. And when the police asked, what happened, she said, she pulled my hair and I stabbed her a little bit. And then she was like, okay, the cop says to her, he's like, yeah, but no, like you stabbed her 40.
Oh, well, he didn't know the number, but he said you stabbed her
a lot or something.
More than a little bit.
Yeah, and
I think there's a video of the cop who says
it is.
There's no telling how many stabs. Or I know that it's in one of the reports.
Yeah.
Where the police officer says there's no telling how many stabs that'll come with the autopsy tomorrow. And
I'm sorry, guys, I'm yawning.
Yeah, it's really late here. So she immediately confesses to the crime. Says there's not going to be a trial.
Which I'm confused why there was even a preliminary hearing if she was going to plead guilty. Unless at the prelim.
Well, there may be...
Because the video of her at the prelim, having to hear all of this and hear the 911 call.
She slumps over
and she's crying.
She is remorseful, and her lawyer says that if she had not pled guilty or confessed, that he probably could have gotten her off using the battered spouse defense.
Which
she did not want that.
No, she didn't want that.
She owned up to her crimes, and I believe that when the judge sentenced her, Second District Judge Joseph Bean. I wonder if he's any kin to Judge Roy Bean. But then his name, the hanging judge. Okay, nevertheless, he sentenced her to 16 years to life, which 16 years for a first-degree felony murder. But it was not aggravated, which I'm not sure. The father is in disbelief about how stabbing someone 46 times cannot be aggravated. I don't know, that's a little iffy to me.
But mental ill. Let's stop for a second, because mental illness is a real thing. And if she was mentally ill in any capacity, if she snapped in that moment 46 times to a frenzied person right then when you're that mad in a car, it sounds aggravated to us. But when she calmed down, she probably only thought, okay, I stabbed her maybe once or twice.
Right. Right.
I mean, really.
She got manic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One of the things I will say is, even though her lawyer said that he probably could have got her off with the battered spouse syndrome, Lacey said that Tawnee could be a snot to Victoria, but that she was never violent. Like, she didn't start. And she didn't. It's like she didn't put her hands on her first, and that she wasn't controlling towards her.
But she was like mentally or like verbally.
She just said that she could be a snot to her.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know.
She's dead, so of course, I mean, we're not going to talk bad about her.
No.
And we have tried to maintain because...
This has been a hard one on me.
I mean,
honestly.
I've tried to not joke much because I do truly believe, like I said, that V is remorseful.
I do too.
And that goes a lot towards parole.
That's actually a lot coming from us because usually the killer on the for our
we
show,
usually just roast them.
them.
I mean, we do. And it's been hard because I believe that even though Victoria is still alive, that she is sort of a victim as well because I don't think she's emotionally cognizant. I believe she knows that she did it.
No, she knows she did it.
But I don't believe that she really meant to do it. I believe that's true. And I know that seems weird.
No, I don't think she meant to do it.
46 times. Although I did say that she got sentenced at 16 to life, the dates don't match up. I don't know if they added time, but I believe there's a difference of about 8 years between her next or first parole.
Yeah,
one report.
One report says that they reviewed her prison, not history. What's the word I'm looking for?
Her prior.
No, her prison, like not history, but there's what she's done while she's been in prison.
Right. Well, she, I believe it has been in fights. I'm sure since she got there.
Yes.
That was.
It has been.
Sources.
Yes, it's been passed on to us that she's already dating someone else, and that she'd been in many fights since she's been in jail. Now, the dating somebody, that just makes you kind of shitty in my book. That's not going to stop you from getting parole, but...
Hey, what are you in for?
Killing the love of my life. You want to go out? I mean, how does that get work?
Right. But I like I said, I believe she is remorseful. That's why I haven't made too many jokes about it. Besides, domestic violence is not really a funny thing.
No, this episode's actually hit me a little bit hard, like I said, because this is the first time that we've done a case where everybody obviously not everybody's alive, but there was somebody to even talk to, and in talking to Lacey, you can hear her hurt, even though it was only through text, there was I didn't get to hear her voice other than. In the Web of Lies, you can tell she misses Tawnee. Everybody misses her. And so this one's been a rough one for me. So I would like to say thank you again to Lacey for taking the time to answer my 5011 questions and for sharing, her love of Tawnee and the truth. Like I said, she said that one of the things that really bothered her, she normally doesn't give details out to everybody, but she was so upset by
how she was portrayed.
Right, and the mom, and actually all of it. She said all of it. But
she's a train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine if that was me being interviewed about somebody, and then you watch it, and then it's just butchered. I mean, it's not done right at all. You'd want your best friend remembered.
So, yeah. Thank you, Lacey, for allowing us to reach out to you, and thank you guys for tuning in again.
Yes.
Stick around. About to play the promo to our true crime podcast.
I mean, not our true crime, but
that's the name of the podcast.
Our true crime podcast. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hi, this is Edward October for OctoberPodVHS.com, here to tell you what people are saying about our true crime podcast. A thread store in Arizona says, too much dribble and slang. These ladies obviously enjoy their own humor and sound high. Hey, at least they called you ladies. Benny from Idaho says, your topics are so appealing, but a 3-person pod is difficult enough to follow without banter? Our true crime podcast only has 2 people? Wait. Where's the other 100 5-star reviews? Can somebody give me the 5-star reviews? Okay, here we go. Much better. Luscious Lee says, stand up. 5 stars. You girls are funny AF. I especially love the me and Mrs. Jones rendition you sneak into the recording. Cherry G107 says, I struggle finding a new podcast, and so far, I've been hooked to you guys' podcast. Keep up the good work. Thumbs up, smiley face. Our true crime podcast, 2 girls, 1 story, and lots of bad renditions of songs you love. Available on your favorite podcatcher. Go binge it today.
see.